Hi. So, as the introduction said, my name is Rainer Masopust, and I'm head of digital in Austria. And 18 months ago, my boss came around and asked about, okay, I have another project for you. So just a normal thing. We are used to do high scalable platforms for automotive and for other areas. But also the reason why I'm here now, I think the thing we implemented here is starting to be one of the next game changers. So what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about small drones around, which you know from the gamification part. So we are trying to industrialize drones. So this drone, for example, called Skylark, by the way, you can see one model of that at the ATOS booth at J85, is used as a fixed wing drone, which can vertically take off and land. And we are up to the air more than 1 hour 20 already, and we are going by 90 kilometers per hour. So which means we are not like you have with small drones, 20 minutes flight capacity. We really can take off and go ahead. And that's even the small one. We have now a bigger one with 4 meters wide in preparation, which gives us then the possibility to stay up to the air for 400 kilometers. And why we are doing that? We are doing automated flights. We are not doing autonomous flights, to be very precise on that, because that's a bit different. But we are doing automated flights, and we are doing this beyond visual line of sight. Means that the pilot has not, beside the video he is getting, any view on the drone so far. So what we are trying to do is long distance flights beyond visual line of sight, with these fixed wing drones and doing pictures. So as ATOS, as an IT service provider, drones are cool stuff, no question about that. And also coding the drones inside, which is done normally also with the flight regulation. So we have a close relationship here also to the Austrian flight regulation, to work together what is needed within this drone to make it fly beyond visualized sight. For example, you can see the OE number. So like a normal Airbus, we are really a small plane already. And we are working here together with the Austro Control to make all the safety relevant stuff. But from the ATOS side, we are interested in the data of the drone. So the drone is flying 90 kilometers per hour, as I said before. And what are we doing normally? You normally put in one payload. We are talking about a digital picture, means that's a Sony Alpha doing 80 megabyte pictures per second. And if you now start calculating about one picture per second, more than 1 hour and 20 minutes up to the air, you can imagine already the data gathering which is happening within the drone already. We are doing optical imaging just to have a first view in this, and we are also using this for doing 3D modeling. But in addition to this, not so relevant now for the energy market, we are also using multispectral cameras. These are used in the agriculture, so if you have a dedicated wavelength of light, you can use that one to measure the chlorophyll you have in the leaf of a tree. And based on this, you can predict if the tree is eaten up by the bark beetle. So in addition to this, we have a close cooperation to an Austrian company who is doing the Mercedes of all the laser managements. Do some advertisement of Austria for sure. Where we are doing also laser LiDAR measurements. So this is mainly also before a power line is built up to get all the details of the landscape, but also when the power line is already established to check around. For example, is the vegetation too close to the power line? So if a tree grows up and it falls down, it can kick off my power line. And then we also have ultraviolet imaging, so which is used. I will come there on that in a minute. And for sure, we can also do thermal imaging. So just to give you a small glance how this looks like. That's a picture we did in late August. So when we, with our partner Austrian Power Grid, so these are more or less the inventor of the first use cases we did together. Austrian Power Grid is doing the entire high voltage network all over Austria. So they have 3,400, 500 kilometers of power line. And they have one cautious one, that's the line over the Alps between Germany and Italy. So if we are failing here, if we are not delivering the energy either to Germany or to Italy, the Austrian power grid is in real trouble. So here we are talking about penalties in hundreds of millions of euros. So they need to care about this power line. And the crucial thing here is, as I said, going through the Alps, but it's also a national reservation area. So you're not allowed to fly in with a helicopter, for example. Or you can try. It will take you with the flight regulation approximately 2 to 6 months to get an okay for that. And then each minute is an enormous amount of money you're spending. And one of our masterclass thing we needed to do for the Austrian flight regulation was also to make there a 54 kilometers automated fly happen through the Alps. So we were going from the south. We had to get to an altitude of 2,400 meters with the drone, drilling up like loitering up, and then doing pictures. And when you visit me at the booth, I can also show some more detailed videos on that. But that's what the camera brings back. So when the drone comes back, these are the pictures we are getting. So I hope it's visible here already in this way, the detail of data you get. This is the same picture, I just zoomed in a bit. And I even just zoomed in a bit more. So we have one picture with 80 megapixels and have already this level of detail within this camera. So we had discussions, even maybe take a Hasselblad with 120 megapixels. We found out our AI in the back will not need that, because the level of detail is already that good. For example, on the insulators here, or how the cables are moving forward, to get first evidence of if something is going wrong. Why are we doing this? So we are going in 3 different areas at the moment, but as I said with the CEO of the drone company, one coffee are 3 new use cases. So I imagine, and looking to your eyes, I already see some ideas coming up. But we are definitely focusing on the energy market first. So as you can see, going over power lines, running then, doing pictures. And as you can see on the left side here already, starting with AI to find out what are the different parts of the power pole, so the mast, the insulators and so on, and then starting to play with the data. The second area we are also in is agriculture, as I mentioned before, with these multispectral cameras, but we're also doing measurement of big facilities, doing 3D modeling, also for insurance companies, to make the monthly fee already predictable for the customer. As you can see, we are using ultraviolet cameras, for example, which enables us to do 2 kinds of pictures. One is in the ultraviolet area, one is in the optical. If you have an overlay on that, you see the white dots. And these white dots are clear signs that the energy, the power is jumping over the insulator. And that's a clear, easy thing to find out in the meaning of predictive maintenance. Because at the end of the day, if I wait another 2 months, this insulator is broken and I have a blackout on this line. Another project we already did last year in Finland were solar farms. So solar farms, they have big farms, and the big issue they had, going in there manually, you can do it once every 3 months. But on the next day, something can break. So with the drone, we can fly in on a daily basis if needed, taking a thermal camera. And as you see already on these red or yellow spots, it's even an easier way for an AI in the back to get out this data and to calculate the probability if there's something wrong, if the diode is wrong, if the entire panel is broken or so on. And for next year, we're even thinking about taking some water with us to clean them. So also there, AI is already the next step to support them to stay up to the air. And one important, it's not so much the details here, one important thing I always want to mention is, so the one thing I mentioned in the beginning was doing flights beyond visual line of sight. That's cool. We are bringing back a lot of data. On the other side, if we are doing AI, it's very important for our customers as well to know this is something we need to do together. Why? Because AI is always something you need to do within a project to make the training, to make the learning. So if you compare power poles, for example, here in France, if you compare them to Austria, and in Austria, even in Upper Austria, they look different than in Lower Austria and in Salzburg. So therefore, you always need to get together, and we need also the expertise to find out what are the nasty details of your power pole. What are the iron bar, for example? Do you want to detect rust on that? So therefore, one part of this onboarding is done in a way to get together, to work together for 3-6 months, depends then on the artificial intelligence. And in the back, for sure, as a service, we are taking care about all the flight regulation stuff. So we are taking care with the flight authorities that everything is fine, because we also say, why should energy providers pay for drones for pilots? And also this licensing thing is really a long-lasting one. So that's one part of our services we are doing. And in addition to this, then we get together and doing flight, doing pictures. And one crucial thing, for example, we found out Mid-Europe has 2 good power lines. So they are not faulty or close to not faulty at all. So we are also rethinking our model, doing an inverse artificial intelligence. So we are doing pictures. When we are doing the next pictures, we do overlays. And if they're the same, everything should be fine. If they're different, okay, we stand up, there is an issue. And over time, we learn then as well, what's the difference between a good one, a false positive one maybe, or then a real broken one. And finally, how we are doing this. So as I said, ATOS is an IT company. So we are not the pilots, we are not the drone providers, but for sure we have a close connection for them. So when my boss asked me, I think some month ago he came around, so we spent now 16 months working, what do I get for my work? So there were 6 to 8 guys working really hard the last 16 months. And I told him, yeah, you got a blue box, yeah, that's great. So he did not see it that funny. But generally speaking, that's it. So we built up a complete automated service delivery platform. Automated, so as I said in the beginning, I'm coming from the digital. So everything from the start, when a customer just orders a drone flight, that's like an ATOS web, like an Amazon web shop. So where Austrian Power Grid, for example, has all the power balls in the background already onboarded, and they can really select, okay, let's do the track from Vienna to Linz, for example. They just put it to a basket, order it, gone. All this order is going to blockchain. I will be on that in a minute. And on the other side, there are the pilots. Yeah? And for sure, there's also for the pilots then an interface to grab this order. So they have a dispatcher and say, okay, you have time, you have the license, you have the drone and all this stuff done. Make the flight. The entire way is digitized already in that way that the mission file for the drone is already available at that point. So by putting the order, you know exactly where to fly. If you think about additional information for the pilot done automatically, so you have wind in the back, so they know about the wind situation in the environment. They have also the flight restriction plan in the back. So, for example, imagine we are close to a military airport in the region where I'm located. If there's an alarm start for military, you're grounded immediately. So we also needed to implement a lot of emergency procedures in the back to the drone and also to our ground station, that the pilot can press a red button and the drone comes home safely without any violation of the flight restriction. Then the pilot is executing the flight. That's the easy part, but during the flight, the drone every 30 seconds sends us already the telemetry data back to the blockchain. And now back, why the blockchain? The blockchain is for full evidence of what we are doing. And as I mentioned, we are under strict control from flight authorities. So the flight authority in Austria will get another node of the blockchain, hope next week or in 2 weeks from now. That they have also full evidence that we did our flights only where we were allowed to fly. And we're also thinking about future, if you do some piloting, you know, there's a logbook, there's a maintenance book, all written in paper. We can put that all in the blockchain as well. So you have a full automated, did the pilot get all the licenses, did the pilot get all the trainings, was the drone maintained in the perfect way? And then you get the seal, you're allowed to move forward. So therefore also this blockchain makes sense. Yeah, at the end of the flight, the data uploaded to the cloud at the end of the flight is easily explained. So the pictures we are doing with the digital camera, it's 80 megabyte per picture per second. If you attach a laser scanner, you're doing 1.8 millions of pixels per second. And if you imagine that now on the big drone with 400 kilometers, which stays up to the air close to 4 hours, you can imagine it's an easy math, but it's a long, long number. So I call it already a data center in the air. So there is no bandwidth so far available that we can really push it in real time. But at the end of the flight, it's going directly to a data center through pure storage, flash arrays, and uploaded to the cloud. So the entire platform currently is running in the Google Cloud, and we are then starting in the back with the scalable AI system to do investigation on this data. So this is, for example, a picture we did for the agriculture area. There the AI finds out at the end of the day with the red dots, this tree is dead. The yellow ones is, okay, it's most likely infected. The white one, okay, it's still healthy. And you put it then to the customer. And and for sure we want to get some money. That's clear as well. But the customer itself, they are not interested in these tons of pictures. They're not interested in that amount of data. The real interest for them is getting a report. So if I fly like Vienna Linz, as I said, these are 700 power poles, and they don't need any information or picture for each and every power pole. So I assume an energy provider knows how their power poles look like, but they will get a report. And the report will say, okay, we did a flight from here to here. We investigated 700 power poles. And out of these 700, you have 30 of them, you have to have a closer look. Then with the report, they also get a link to drill into the data. So for sure, they have full evidence on the data as well. And based on that, they can then define the next steps. Yeah, easily said, but I don't want... and the platform itself was done also in a way to be incorporated quite easily to other things. So for sure, we have this web shop. It's just a simple one. But all the platform was built as well that if an energy provider says, okay, I'm doing my entire maintenance team via SAP, then connect SAP to the ordering system. It's not a big deal. It's just some work to get SAP, talk to our web services, make it done. And as I mentioned at the end, the report is also not the final thing. For sure, it's in PDF, it's an HTML file, but we could also trigger immediately also an incident management, or even already start the repair team to get out to make it done. So based on this, and back on that slide is, we have here two things, and these are also my key messages for today. So the one thing is definitely, I think the drones, industrialized drones, going beyond visual line of sight is a real game changer in future to replace a lot of manual work or a lot of helicopter work, save time to the customers. And the second thing is, and this was a clear focus also, building up the entire platform here was thinking it end to end. So we know that there are drone providers around doing cool stuff, good drones as well. But if you ask them how to deal with that and that, they are done. So one main thing from the early beginning is think it from the early beginning, from the request of a drone flight, till I get the report. And no holes, no gaps in between to have it fully digitized. Having this said, thanks a lot for your time. And if there are any questions, so I have 2 minutes left. Or? Yeah, and if you want any more details, ATOS booth G85.
Probably can't overlook it with the drone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Do you have any questions? Maybe one question to take one step back. You mentioned that you started this project 16 months ago. Do you have some, let's say, key learnings also to start a project like this in a larger company like ATOS?
That's a nasty one. No, key learnings. So two things. So first of all, thinking things end to end. So coming now from the digital department, it's also our inner nucleus to think things from end to end. So not having anything in writing, paper, email, or stuff in between. So thinking the entire process from the one end to the other one. And the second for sure is more politically how to put that in this big company as ATOS has 120,000 employees, to do it in the right way, to it gives a lot of enablement in the meaning of we have AI experts, for example, all around the globe. To get them easily into to support me in this and that, that's definitely a value add. But for sure, you have also to keep control on the entire thing that you can really found it. Because at the end of the day, I said in the beginning, it was just a project. At the moment, we are already in funding of a joint venture, which is then a startup hosting the entire platform. Because we found out that this platform could be utilized for babysitting as well, or for snow shoveling. You don't need any AI, but the blockchain could be used for certificates with Red Cross, and I can do the entire ordering system, the servicing, and also the invoicing done with the same platform. So from that point of view, getting this balanced and also getting the magnitude of experts from ATOS, but also not being overwhelmed by a big company to a startup, we're really now funding an own startup, joint venture, 50-50 for the drone company and for ATOS. Did it answer?
Yes. Thank you very much.